Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, wherever you are in the world. So glad to be back with you. This is Dr. Jacqueline King, the CEO and founder of Black Women Empowered. And we do bring amazing people, I'm trying to get this right, amazing people to you. Doing amazing things, and today will not disappoint you. I just lost my layout.
Get to the
But nonetheless, I'm excited that you are here. And why is that not going? It's not going. Okay. We'll leave it like this because I don't know what's going on. But I'm excited to be with you today. And you're beautiful, brave, bold, and beautiful. It's Belkis Clarke-Mitcham. She is thebomb.com. Can I just be real? Right?
Thank you for that.
It's a fact. And so we met and we were connected, and I love her energy and what she's doing. So I'll read a little bit of her bio. And when you come in, if you could just tell us where you're coming from, let us know where you're tuning in from, and then we can acknowledge your presence. I don't know what's going on here, girl. This is like, you know what? I hate technology sometimes.
It does
Hello,
what it
hello,
needs.
Helen Jackson. So some people rise from the ashes of their past. Others turn those ashes into fire that fuels them. Belkis Clark Mitcham is the latter. From the Caribbean shores of St. Kitts to the stages of international conferences, Belka's journey is a testament to the power of resilience, purpose, and storytelling. She is living proof that pain, when transforms, becomes the foundation for strength, wisdom, and empowerment. Born into a world where her voice was once stifled by the shadows of sexual abuse, Belkis made a life changing decision. She would rewrite her story, rising from the depths of suicide attempt. She chose to become her own guide, lighting the way for others to do the same. Today, as an empowerment mentor, communication consultant, data scientist, and international speaker, Belkis helps people around the world break free from their prisons of trauma and find that light that has always been inside them. Wow, that's I gotta stop there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Thank you so much, Helen, Cheryl, Jessica, Whitley. Thank you so much. Share the broadcast if you don't mind. We would greatly appreciate that. Man, so sexual abuse?
Yes, ma'am.
You know, this is Domestic Violence Month, and
Hmm.
that falls right in line with that. So let's start there because so many women uh, are in abusive relationships silently. What can you say to them?
Get a plan and get out. It because a lot of the times we just say leave, but I emphasize the get a plan, Miss King, because it is important to have a plan. And one of the things that I think sometimes keep us trapped is oh my God, not being able to see what your next step will be, not being able to see how you could survive, because whether it's financially, you have joined finances with this person and you've done everything together, it could be a certain emotional dependence, or you will keep remembering the good times and how great they are at times. But you have to weigh in the balance, what's worth it, and can you give yourself enough of a chance, take enough of a chance on yourself to say, can I make a plan and get out? Not all these situations are easy to get out from, but there is always a way, but it's not always easy. Some are easier than others, Miss King. So I would say make a plan and don't let that plan take you 10 years to get together. Make a plan and get out. If they don't get they don't get better. They really I it has I mean, I would like to come start off this on this grand space of hope. but I have done enough in domestic violence, been a victim myself in sexual abuse, been a victim myself. I've worked with enough, seen enough, volunteered enough to know that the statistics speak. It doesn't, in most instances, it doesn't get better.
Yeah, and I hear women say, and I can say I've been fortunate enough to never have experienced a domestic violence situation, but I hear women say that they're afraid. They stay because they're afraid to um, be alone. They're afraid that they will not be able to take care of themselves.
Mhm.
uh, so those are some of the excuses that they give. What can you say if the man is the total breadwinner?
There's always some little skill set somewhere along the line that we have. And you got to know, sometimes we've got to be more desperate for our survival, for our thriving, for our opportunities than fearful about what ifs. Because the what ifs of the world are, they're just like smoke on the wind. You can't grasp it. You can't do anything. You can't build anything with a what if, but you can build on a step, taking a step. So sometimes, yes, we are afraid of being alone, but you could be alone and alive or alone and dead. And I don't know if it's okay
Mm.
to be that forthright. I like to keep it real. You can be alone and alive and trying for yourself. There is something that is innately rewarding when you do something that is in your best interest. And if no one has ever told you that you are capable and that you are able, then we need to reshuffle this thinking and our mindset and create some new neural pathways that would have us leading a life that says, it is possible. If you ever want to do a what if, do a what if. What if I tried? What if I start with a job at Target or Walmart? Or what if someone has a home I can clean because I'm really good at organizing and cleaning? Those are the kind of what ifs we want. You don't want the what if, oh my gosh, what if he leaves and I don't have any money and I don't have nobody to come home to and the house is empty? At least it'll be empty and you wouldn't be beaten. You wouldn't be talked down to. You would actually be able to lie on a bed and not cringe in fear for what is to come. What
That's
if?
powerful. That's powerful. And so you got to start somewhere, right? I
Yep.
mean, one thing I said years ago, and I'm closer to 70 than not. Uh, I said years ago, we are going to be a services country where everybody is going to be servicing one another, because the jobs that they had when I was working, I stayed on the job for 26 years. Those jobs are gone
Yes, ma'am.
and they're not coming back.
Hmm.
So, whatever your passion is, that's your purpose. And when you tap into it, you will automatically flow into creative ways to make money. Am I right?
That is so, you're saying that, and it is the truth. It is when we, let me tell you something. I always say, staying in bad situations, whether it is a job, whether it is a relationship, a friendship, whatever it might be, it stifles your flow, your innate, your original flow. It stifles it. But the moment you start going like, oh, this thing's excite me, I don't care how many people have told you it don't make sense. Oh, that's a childish dream. Guess what? I was writing poetry and stories since I was a kid.
Mm.
There was no one around me, Miss King. I grew up in the Caribbean. I grew up in poverty. There was no one around me that wrote, that stood up on a stage to speak and say, oh, this is what I'm going to do with my life and make money with it. There was zero evidence of it. But I liked to write. I didn't think it was possible until the day I did. Until
Wow.
the days someone told me I wrote a play, a little skit that they did for a youth group. And they said, when you are great, remember you started here. Never forgot. And I'm saying all that to say, you're so correct. The things that we, out of every passion, out of every little girl's dream inside of us, out of every desire, that strong
Come on
desire,
now.
there is a path for you to make money, to support yourself, and to do something that makes you go like, it was an exhausting day, but it was a rewarding day. And that, that feeling of feeling rewarded is even better than the money.
You know, I say this all the time, and I hope nobody takes offense to it, but a lot of my friends are Caribbean. It just happens to be that way.
Hmm.
And I look at a lot of the people from Caribbean, and or Caribbean or Africa, and those who come from nothing are usually the ones that end up so uh, uh, employable, or they have their own businesses, they have great ideas, because if you never had anything and all you have is a dream, that's all you have.
Mm.
So
Yes,
what you
ma'am.
do with it matters. And
That's
so I
right.
am very, very encouraged when I see my sisters from the islands, from Africa, from wherever, and brothers too, doing the
Mhm.
darn thing, coming over here, and
Mhm.
realizing that there is a lot of opportunity right before you. Am I right?
Yeah, ma'am, let me tell you something. You are so right. When you've had nothing, when you've had very little, when you've been desperate enough and all you've known maybe is hunger and lack, you see opportunity everywhere you go. Whenever you take that away and replant you in a different situation, what to some is just taken for granted, for you became the greatest opportunity. And because we are hardworking people, because we got to make an extra effort, and we're growing up, it's like the whole family had to be together. Everybody got to contribute. So you're disciplined. Sometimes we say we come out of this and we have no skill set. How I worked in my family, I would put on a resume because I learned discipline and I learned commitment and I learned loyalty and I learned drive and hunger for excellence and for better and for
Mhm.
more. So coming out of these situations, I've had people throw it at me as if it is a bad thing. Uh, no, you can't make me feel any worse than the experiences I've been through. I've lived it, done it,
Okay.
and I and I can write a book about it too. um, no, I can't feel bad about where I came from because it has fostered in me the greatest things about me that people now ask for.
Oh, absolutely. And you are you, you are so well rounded at such a young age. You
Okay.
need you're young. You need to hone in on those gifts while you're young, and
Hmm.
then later on in life you can live off the rewards. Am I telling the truth?
I totally agree. A lot of the times now, not everybody might start their own business. Some people are really good at working for others with others. I mean, they really thrive in those environments. But you are so correct that whatever it is you build on, whatever it is you do with your energy when you have the energy, when you don't have as much energy, is then you want to relax into it. And I am happy you talk about coming out of our environment. It's the same thing. I did not know growing up about having a college fund. I did not know about what it is to be. I've seen people do little things to make money, but I never thought like entrepreneurship was a thing for me. I did not know what purpose was like. I thought you're here and you go and you go to school, you get a job, you go to work, you maybe have kids, married, whatever, and it's this cycle. But sometimes when you are, we don't like to be uprooted. But being uprooted, I thank my mother every day. You know what my mother did to get us out of St. Kitts? My mother went to the seashore and she would get the rocks and she would take one of those hammer with the big thick end and she would pound rocks. And she would get piles and piles, and then she would sell them to these people who were in construction and different things
Oh,
that they needed it
wow.
for. And she saved that money and got a ticket. And she left and she worked cleaning houses for years until she got up to where she wanted to be working in administration. All of that sent a signal to me. We don't like to be uprooted, but sometimes we need an uprooting. And I know I'm speaking to someone right now.
Preach, girl. Go on,
You
preach.
need to be uprooted from where you're at, and then you need to be supplanted. Because as difficult as and to be moved is where you're at will rot your soul from the very roots up. And you will wonder, why is it that nothing is working out? And you would wonder, why is it you can't seem to grow and to flourish? It is because you need to be supplanted in an entirely different environment. The US wasn't my first place. I live many places and love it. I feel the world is my playground. And every place I live, Miss King, is a new experience. It brings different things out into me until I got to here where I am, international speaker. Gosh, I mean, who'd have ever thought? You know, helping women all over the globe, doing what I do and loving it. And
So,
you can tell, give
so
me a
tell
stage
me
and
how your faith, because that's one thing that a lot of people struggle with. We say that we have faith in God, and but fear keeps us to from moving forward.
I am so glad that you asked me that. This is a conversation I hold a lot when sometimes I don't like to come across as judgy, but I tend to say things quite frankly. If you truly know someone, and I'm bringing this around to faith, you would have been, if you have a spouse, you've been together 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, even 5 years. There are certain things that you know about this individual. There are things that, if I do this, I can push their buttons and get them upset. These are the things that make them happy. If they were in this situation, you can even sometimes know to some extent how they may act, react, or what they may say. That's the reality. When we know God,
Go
or
now,
wha-
girl. Bring it.
when we know God, the way we know a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a sister, a brother, a mother, whomever, a best friend, you know what they like to wear, you know where they like to eat, you know what moves them. When you know God, having faith in God becomes a whole lot easier. And even though sometimes you might get disturbed and you might feel a little fearful, you do not move. Faith keeps you grounded and believing no matter what you see. And I can tell you stories of situations that I've been in where my back wasn't just up against the wall, it was just wall, 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 wall with spikes and things coming down on my head and the floor about to give out as well. And no matter what, because I know, got to know. I'm not talking about just going to church and saying a prayer and things. I meant got to know, like I know a friend. I got to know what I wanted to know what moved you, what tickled you, what pleased you, what you hated. Not just, oh, if I did wrong. I wanted when I wake up in the morning and I did this, I could smell his presence. I wanted him so close that when we are
Mm,
intertwined, you don't know where he ends and I begins. I got to know. And that is what we need. We need a knowing. We need to stop playing. We want to act the thing rather than become the thing. We want to act like we know God, act like we have faith, act like we are powerful, act like we're confident, act like we're spiritual. But we don't want to go through the process of
whew,
becoming. We need
girl,
to become. So,
you so on
mm,
point. You are so. Phyllis says, "Speak truth, woman of God." Yes, you are. She is. She is bringing it for real. And I didn't even know that I was going to go in this direction. But you know, one thing about it, God gives you what to say at precisely the right time. Um, so you know, faith is your foundation.
Yes,
I've
ma'am.
been in those. I mean, in my 67 years of living, I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff, a lot of challenges,
Mhm.
but I never stopped believing if God said it, it surely will happen. And
Right.
one thing about it is, He does not give you a vision without provision. He is always going to provide a means for it to happen if He said it. Am I right?
That's right. Even if it takes 2 years, 3 years, but keep believing no matter what. It is hard. I'm, mm, I am trying not to just take over this as if it's a preaching session.
Go ahead,
But
girl. We're a Christian network. Go ahead and be
yeah,
yourself.
but it truly is important for us to realize one, that God is not a genie in a bottle, rub it,
Okay.
and then out poof, we grant me my wish, put you back until sometime. We don't have to be overly all blasting, oh, God's in everybody's face. But by the way we live, you're knowing of Him, that when He takes root inside of you, you can't help but change, and fear can't help but be reduced. And I'm not telling you that, I don't like when people say if you get to know God, all your problems disappear. No,
Oh no, that's
that's not true.
impossible.
The closer I get to God is the more problems I think I have. It's the
Yes.
more things come at me. But it's like knowing a friend is going to show up when they say that they will, when you need them the most. Even if you have to struggle for a bit or whatever, they're coming through for you. And that is the thing. Sometimes, though, I think, Miss King, we get it confused because we think the outcome ought to look a certain way. We got a picture of what our life ought to be in our head. And we can't see really the beginning from the end and anything in between. We just know this is what I would like. And God do give us the desires of our heart. He does that without a doubt. But sometimes we've got to understand that we see a great thing for ourselves, but He see a greater thing for us. And He can see all the steps necessary. So we've got to be okay with saying, all right, God, um, I wanted to do this. You know how much times in business I've been knocked down, failed at
Oh,
things,
girl, please.
lost money. Yeah, yet here I am still knowing that my greatest gifting is the ability for communication. I mean, you can ask me to teach on dirt and I can make it fascinating, not by making anything up, but because that's an innate ability that God stirs in me. When you know that you know, and you will hear me say knowing a lot, when you start to really know, you will change. You will change. Your environment will change. The people you want to hang around
Oh,
with will change. Oh
girl,
God, let's not talk
don't
about,
start. Don't you
no,
start.
let's not talk about our people around. You cannot be in the same, you can't keep planting a tree in the same environment. It's not thriving and think that somewhere along the line, some magic's going to happen.
Okay.
You got to get rid of some, you got to take that, you got to get out. Y'all got to get out. You got to get out. Some of you need to get out. You need to be uprooted. Some of you need to be uprooted. And uprooted is not always physical. Sometimes it's a mental thing, and a mental uprooting or spiritual uprooting. Don't talk about the emotional uprooting, the people who have hurt you, the things that you're holding on to. You've been growing in it and your roots have sunk deep, and
Mm.
you need for those roots to be pried out. And I believe if trees could talk, when we try to pull them from the ground, they would scream in anguish. So if it hurts, you're moving, you're uprooting, you're disconnect from your present environment, that's a good thing. Me, you're not dead at the root yet. God could do something with this.
Girl, you are so refreshing. Yeah, so you know, you're right. Because one thing I found is that Some people have a hard time saying no and pulling away from negativity. I don't care who it is, if it's a family member, if it's a coworker, that is poisoning you and stifling you and preventing you from moving forward. You cannot move forward with negative people hanging on you. It's because they are dream killers.
Yes, they are. They can even be family. Oh,
That's
wait,
right.
I said that out loud.
No, I said that. I said the same thing.
And it's the truth. I used to think that because we connected by blood, that whatever it is you ask of me, somehow I have to find a way to do it, even if it was sucking the very life out of me. And I had to stay close and connected. No, 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 no. Um, that blood does not mean I take whatever you dish out and let you suck the very life out of me, and that I should be okay with it and come back with a smile. We have got to love ourselves enough. I mean, how do you say, Miss King, that there's a God, a deity who did all this, that died for you, but yet you will sit down and take whatever negative treatment others dish out to you. You just stay there and say, "Oh, well, I'll take it with grace and with the love of Christ." That, the love of, is that how God wants me to really be loved? Is that what He
Exactly.
wants? This life sucking vampire to just constantly be draining every good thing and spewing every negative thing at me? Is that why He truly died? So I could say, you're not doing anybody a favor, and you don't get to heaven by accepting that either.
Say it. Want to shout out to Annie, Johnny B, Marcel that are on. Please share the broadcast because I know you know somebody that needs to hear this. This is especially for some of you out there. You needed this on today because God always gives us what we need at precisely the right time. And I honestly, we didn't talk about this before. We didn't even know what we were going to talk about. We just got on here and we just let it flow. So we're letting God use us to help empower you for the time that we're with you. Um, so in your challenges to get to where you are, international speaker, motivator, TEDx, all of that, what are some of the struggles that you faced?
I did face a lot of the fact that, like I said, nothing around me prepared me for this. To the point that I thought that writing was just a hobby. I mean, it's the one thing I love words. I love to read. I was a passionate reader as a kid. I mean, I read everything I could put my hands on, and I love to write, and sometimes people would write something, and I found better ways to express it. And I love doing that, but I did that silently. So one of the challenges was that there was nothing in my environment, nothing in my that really prepared me for that, except I had a skill that didn't really look like a skill. I mean, how do you go study that? And I mean, all my friends were becoming accountants and doctors and all these different things. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? And so it had me feeling like I was drift. I tried a lot of different jobs in my youth because I was trying to find my way. I didn't know that's what I was doing. In the process, I met with a lot of people who told me a lot of things would not work for me, who told me, girl, just get a real job, girl, just this. I also I had to deal with overcoming my past with sexual abuse. I had an ex-husband who was abusive as well. And so I went through finding myself, so to speak, amongst the muck. And I had to stop looking for Prince Charming to come and rescue me.
Mm,
And
mm.
if that was a struggle, so it was a lot of Some of my challenges were mental. It was a lot of self-esteem issues. It was a lot of overcoming the things that I would have been through. A lot of people think they could just shove down whatever they've been through and say, well, I don't think about that anymore. I'm grown now. I'm past it. But my mother often told me, you cannot conquer what you do not confront.
Mm, mm.
So one person once asked me, why would I want to relive the bad experiences? You're not, that's it. You're not reliving the bad experiences. You're giving it the burial that it deserves so that the life that
Burial.
is
Okay.
in you, yes, that's what it is. And just ignoring it is not, if someone died and we just decide to shove them off at the morgue and leave them there, are they buried and gone? I mean, they're dead still, yeah, but their stink is gonna eventually, and that body's going to deteriorate. And do you want that deteriorating inside of you?
Wow.
So some of my challenges were financial. Oh my goodness, I was like, start a business. Taking business takes money to get started. Um, I did not know how to do it. I did not have anyone around me to tell me how to do anything. I It was like a steep learning curve. But people would ask, where did you train to speak? I did not train to speak. When God awoken in me the power of words and the gift that He had given me, that's where it came from. Every time I would prepare a speech and never use it. I don't think I've ever really read a speech in my entire life that I prepared. But I stand on the stage and I find where the people are at. I find them on a very spiritual level, whether or not they know it. And from there, I communicate to them. I stick to my topic, but it's not I can say I went a training that I had. It's an innate gift that I have, and I have learned over the years to hone it. So I had money problems. I had to overcome my self problems. I had my past problems, and I had no clue what I was doing problem. So I lost a lot of money I didn't have. Um, but I learned well. So I wasn't afraid to pick up a course. I wasn't afraid. I went back to school at almost 30. I did a degree in English with a minor in communications, graduated valedictorian at my
I
university.
saw that. Yay.
And got a full scholarship. And this is how God works. Can I share a little something to encourage
Yes.
some people? Remember, I was in an abusive relationship, and when that marriage ended, I felt lost. I felt like I did not know myself. I was like walking, and one literally I would walk a lot, just take long walks, not knowing what to do with myself because you had this plan, and all you saw ahead was you and this person. And no, I didn't have it. And I didn't know where to begin. And I said, I always wanted to go back to school. I mean, this is like 11 plus years after I've left high school and the, and stuff. I am like, I always wanted to go back to school, but I had no money, literally zero money. And I was living on an island where my ex was from. And all of those people on that island, there is like, you're the foreigner, you're the stranger. So, I mean, they'd possibly walking in the rain, nobody give you a ride, stuff like that. Um, and I decided, but if I really say I know God
Mm.
and I would like this, why
There's your
cannot God?
faith.
Yes, that there's the faith. And I applied it to school. When I tell you I had $0 in the bank, I did not even, I wanted, after the divorce, I wanted to go back home to my mom. Bless my mom. I could always go back home. I wanted to, I did not have money to buy a ticket. I didn't have $200. I didn't have 100. I didn't have $50. I had no money. There were a couple of people who were giving me food to eat. I did not know what I was doing with my life. And I felt ashamed because I was almost 30. And people thought, always told me I had all this potential. But now here I was divorced, couldn't make the marriage work. And nothing going on in my life, no job, no money, no nothing. And I applied to school. I applied in the US, I applied in Canada, I applied in the Caribbean. Um, I got responses back from the US and Canada kind of quickly, but they were asking for some other things. But Trinidad, in the university in Trinidad came through like this. And I went like, okay, well, maybe this is the one. And my mom said in praying for me, she heard, go. I said, but go how? I can't even get back home to pack a bag. How on earth? Miss King. And there was a friend of the family, was a gentleman. And he said to me one day, mind you, I told him I'm coming. I deferred by a semester. So instead of starting the semester in September, I told him I'll get there in January. Still no clue how I'm getting there, but I said I'm coming. Miss King, and that gentleman said to me in that between that space, he said, "You have so much potential. What are you doing?" I said, "I'd like to go and study, but I don't have any money." He said to me, "I'll pay for you to go to study." I literally went like, "What do you want?" Um, because I'm not selling myself.
I know that's right.
Desperate as I am, we're not doing that. He said, "No, just pay it forward." And I said, "You need to say this in front of my mama." So I got some evidence here about this. That gentleman paid for me 4 years for university.
Wow.
He paid not just tuition, he paid for food, he paid for books, he paid for insurance, and he would pay tickets back home once a year for me to visit my mom. And that's what I talk about being a little bit. I didn't, he paid that. I didn't have money for the ticket. An uncle of mine was like, he was working in construction at the time. He said, "I'll pay your ticket." I got there and had no money for food. I didn't have a clue about university. Can you imagine? I did not know what on earth. I just went to the office and they're like, "Oh, well, you're a day early." And none of the girls wanted me to stay in the dorm room with them.
Mm.
Women, we can be so unsupportive of each other
So
sometimes.
wait a
But
minute. Was it because you were Caribbean or what? Why
I
did they want?
don't know. I was here. I don't know. They were it's like some of the dorm mates had gone home for vacation, so some of the rooms had space. But I guess they don't want a new person coming into their space. I don't. You know how we are with people who are not who we're accustomed to. You know how we can
Not in the
be.
clique, girl. It's the clique. The clique. I
Yeah,
get it.
but I had that opportunity, and the thing is, sometimes we have opportunities, and we're not even aware. I'm gonna wrap this up, Miss King. I just decided I have this opportunity. What if I just gave it my best shot? That's all I was thinking. I told my mom, I'm sure I could graduate valedictorian. But I just said it like saying it. Watch the power of words, people. Watch what you say, even in a flip of a moment or flippantly or, a joke. I got in there and every assignment I had, I treated it as if it's the only assignment and I gave it my all. It was in my fourth year when I saw they were having an alumni dinner, fancy dinner. You got to pay all this hundreds of dollars to go to this thing, but I'm still a student. I'm like, I don't have money. And someone said, the lady of alumni is looking for you. So I went in her office. I said, I was just reading your post outside. I'd love to go to your dinner, but that's too rich for my blood. She said, but that's what I was calling you for because we are giving tickets to the top 4 students. I was like, oh, that's nice. Yeah. She said, no, ma'am, you don't understand. You are the top of the top students. And I sat there. She said, but don't you know what your GPA is? I said, well, I saw that number thing and the letters and thing, but all I was thinking about, Miss King, at school, all I was thinking about was the experience, the becoming, the discovering myself. I was just me. I ran the school newspaper, was vice president of the student body, started a drama club, raised funds for my department, was always on the dean's list and the VP list or whatever. But for me, I was just living my life fully as a student, not worrying about what the rewards or whatever may be, just discovering the things I like and taking hold of a new opportunity. When she said that to me, I said, are you serious? She said, yeah. You're on your last couple of months and you did not know you were the top student? I was like, I don't even know what that meant. They, so I graduated and they gave me, as a result of that, I ended up with a full scholarship for my master's from the same
Oh,
university. So I
wow.
got 2 degrees and I didn't have to pay for either because God came through big. You don't ever stop believing. I tell people when I move like it is done already and if it's not what God wants, I expect Him to create the shifts that's necessary. Don't be
Your
afraid.
story, I'm sure, is going to encourage someone that if you could do it, they could do it. I'll tell you, I didn't finish my PhD until 2022. I'm
But
67 years old.
that's what I'm talking about.
I didn't need it because I had already retired.
I keep
It,
saying I don't think I
I
want to do
wanted
that.
it. I wanted it, and
Mhm,
it was something that I wanted to do.
mhm.
Now, it wasn't easy, no, and the dissertation was a beast.
I
It was
hear
a beast.
you.
It really
Mhm.
was.
Uh-huh.
And but I tell you what, I did it.
That's right.
And when God is in it, you can win it.
People
And
need to
you don't
understand that.
have to worry about, like I say, if he said it, when I started BWE for
Mhm,
November, we'll be celebrating 14 years. I started with 200 women in a group on Facebook.
mhm,
That group has 200,000 women in it now. But on Facebook, we have close to 4 million followers on our Facebook page, 315,000 on LinkedIn,
mhm,
77,000 on Instagram, 16,000 on TikTok,
mhm.
140,000 on Pinterest. That's God. Because there are celebrities, do you hear what I'm saying, that don't have a following like that?
I know, right? I mean,
When God is in it, one thing I do know, if you take care of God's business, he will take care of yours. And
thank you.
that is without a doubt.
That's right.
If you don't put yourself first and know that you're doing it as unto the Lord,
Hmm.
he's going to take care of you.
That's right. And I firmly
Fact. That's a
believe that.
fact.
I have lived it, seen it, done it, sat in it, rise up in it, lay down next to it. You were right.
And my grandfather was a pastor, and
Hmm.
my grandmother was the first lady for 70 years. And there was a song that they used to sing, "You can't beat God giving, no matter how hard you try," and that is a fact.
That is true. That is
So
true.
we really wanted to come on, and I wanted to showcase this young queen because she's we're going to be doing some powerful things together, and she is such a blessing, not just a blessing to BWE, but a blessing to the body of Christ. And that's more important than anything.
That's right.
Because if you will let everyone know that you didn't do this on your own might, it was nothing but God.
But God.
He's going to keep on expanding your territory. And
Mm,
so when you believe, and I'm not telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I know for a
mm.
fact, that if you put God first, you're in good shape. Things are not going to be perfect. Like you said earlier, it's not no genie in a bottle. You can't rub it and turn around 3 times. And I don't care how much these prosperity preachers tell you, because I mean I've been in church all my life. Turn around 3 times, and throw your money at their feet. I don't really care about any of that. That doesn't work.
No,
God wants to see if you can trust Him with everything that you have.
that's right.
Is that right?
That is that is so true, and you're right about that because I've had people might look at me, and when people hear my story and some of the details of it, they don't understand. Miss King, I've had times where God just had me either left everything, give everything,
Hmm.
and all I had was Him. I remember weeping. Like, do I really have to do? I mean, in tears,
Oh, girl, I
blubbering.
know that's right. Yeah. Like,
I'm like, don't,
really?
you don't, please, why? But I work so hard, and I'm like, but I have nothing. I've had times where I had to give to others, Miss King, and I had nothing in the backup, but God said to give. You cannot outgive. You can't outgive God. And I do not have a relationship with God because of what He can give to me, but just because of who He is. If at the end of every trial I have nothing but God, if just to know He's there, that's what matters. And I think we need to check our motives a lot of the time, because we say we trust, but all we want is what we can get.
Now, you know
Who-
what's funny about this?
Mhm.
This conversation is, and this is the God's truth. We have never discussed God. You and I
No,
have never
no,
discussed.
we haven't.
And honestly, I did not know you were going to be a believer because we never had a conversation.
We did not thinking about it.
We did not have a conversation about it. So this is an ordained relationship.
I just felt the connection.
It's an ordained relationship. I thank God for you. I thank God for Karen for connecting us.
Mhm.
Um, and I thank God for what he's going to do. How many other people we're going to be able to bless,
Oh
to
my God.
encourage, to empower, to inspire, and to
Mhm.
uplift.
Yes,
That's what it's about.
that's right.
I really thank everyone. The people are giving comments, and I haven't been able to read them all, but we thank you so much for sharing the broadcast, coming on. Continue to share it, and I ask that you see that link going across the bottom of the screen. We have our for you business owners, and even if you're not a business owner, we have our directory, which is very powerful because you can get in there and showcase your business, your blogs, your YouTube videos, your TikTok videos. Um, if you have any events, it really is a powerful tool for you to be able to get in front of our millions of followers. And you need to take advantage of it. Tell someone else about it. It's called blackwomanempowereddirectory.com. It's going across the bottom of the screen. Go check it out. And then there's a lot of business owners that you would want to probably do business with: doctors, lawyers, teachers, everything. So Belkis, thank you so much. This has been great. We'll have to do it again.
Yes,
Um,
we
and
do.
like I said, we're working on some things for you queens and kings that you'll have to join us. Um, Big things are coming. What are your closing remarks, my dear?
You truly deserve the best that life have to offer. I will leave you with this statement. A lot of the times we get caught up trying to please other people or do what everybody else is doing or saying. But life is like a tapestry. It have all these little strings, and each of us have a place in the tapestry of life. And if we all just bundle up in one place trying to do the same thing, it leaves a gap. If you're not doing what God has called you to do, you haven't trust in Him for the best for you and for your desires, those secret desires you have to blossom, then you are not taking your place in the tapestry of life. And if you spend all your days living somebody else's life or what someone else wants, who is left to live your life?
Can't nobody live your life but you.
No,
And can't nobody do it like you can.
that's
So
right.
don't you queen stop worrying about competition because you know someone told me there's a lot of people that have copied your Black Women in Power, and I said it doesn't matter because guess what? If God didn't give him the exact same vision, it's not going to work the same way anyway. I don't fear competition.
Nope.
Never did,
No,
because what God has for me is for me.
that's right.
No one can take it. They can't borrow it. They can't steal it. It's not theirs. It's for me, and He
That,
has something for you too. So thank you so much, Queen. We call each other Queens.
thank
I can
you.
say welcome to the family,
Yes, ma'am.
and let's make things happen.
Let's make them happen. Thank you so much, Miss King. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. And please continue to share the broadcast. Tomorrow, we do have two breast cancer survivors as we come to the end of breast cancer awareness. And I thank you, Belkis, for sharing some of your experience with domestic violence. I'm going to bring you back on and talk about a little deeper that. That is something that's really near and dear to my heart. Where, like I said, I've never experienced it, but BWE supports domestic violence victims too with education and speakers like you and
Mm.
others that can help them get out that situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. God bless. Thank you so much. Until tomorrow evening, I think we have a 5 o'clock Eastern and we have a 6 o'clock Eastern. I think that's what we have. No, we have 4 and 5 back to back women that'll be sharing their experience with breast cancer survivors. God bless.